helped scale that agency from 10 to 25 million in revenue. I was trying to answer this question. I was like, why the heck is B2B so boring? I'm consistently saddened by how far marketing is from the customers in most organizations. A lot of times people will try to solve a product problem with marketing, and I think that's a huge mistake. I don't work with founders, never. Anytime I've ever been screwed out of money, it's always been working directly with founders. Smart people fail, stupid people win, stupid people too stupid to quit, too stupid to be scared, too stupid to overthink things. I think Sam Altman needs a punch in the chest.
And we're back. What's up, y'all? Episode 42 of the Builders Growth Lab podcast. I'm Charlie. I'm the SEO guy. Our other two co-hosts, Mallory and Connor, are out this week. Connor's actually out of the country. Mallory is at an event. They will be back next week. But this week, we've got a good interview with Brendan Hufford. He is the head of content over at Growth Sprints, and they take SaaS companies from 10 million to 100 million. He talks SEO, obviously he talks growth, discoverability, and really lays the foundation on how to get your product in front of what customers are looking for. So great conversation with him. Let's cut to that right now. All right, we are joined by Brendan Hufford. He's the head of marketing at Growth Sprints. He works specifically with SaaS companies, and I'm on the website right now. Take them from 10 million to 100 million. ARR. Love the positioning, by the way. That is gangster. Brendan, thank you for taking your time and thanks for being on the show.
Charlie, thanks for having me. I'm super happy to be on. This will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, let's do this. So please, we can do research with Manus and Claude and all that, but what is your background and how did you get to where you are?
So I went to school to be a high school teacher because we let 18-year-olds decide what they want to do with their lives for some reason. And at 18, I guess I decided I'd like to be in high school for the rest of my life. And I did that for 10 years. I tried to climb that ladder, got my assistant principal's license. I was an assistant principal for 2 years, realized that that ladder was leaned up against the wrong wall. And no matter how high I climbed, it wasn't going to be what I wanted it to be. I was the lowest paid assistant principal in my state. I looked it up. Super depressing. I was rewarded with an extra 25 pounds around my midsection, Sunday night panic attacks, really unhealthy relationship with alcohol. And I was like, this is not what I want. So I actually took a step back from being in leadership, moved to a different school, went back in the classroom. That gave me escape velocity to sell a couple little website projects I was working on, start working with clients. And then at the end of one of the school years, I was just like, hey, why don't I go work as a marketer? I came up in that online marketing world where you had to like hate your job, quit your job, and then this freedom life and everything.
Was
so
that
every
around
summer
the Ty Lopez era?
Exactly how I normally describe it to
Okay.
people. It's the Ty Lopez world, and a lot of courses about how to sell courses and podcasts about how to podcast and make money podcasting and everything. Yeah. So I was beating myself up every summer as a teacher, being like, this is the year I quit, and I never could. And then one of my friends, I was like, if you ever see The Incredibles, I was like Mr. Incredible, like big guy in a tiny car in my school parking lot. I'm a big dude, but I had a Nissan Versa, super tiny car. And I was in there just talking to him on my lunch break, my 25-minute lunch break, because again, high school. And I was like, I can't do this anymore, man. He's like, why don't you just go work somewhere and be a marketer? And I swear to God, Charlie, I'd never thought of that. It's the dumbest thing. I always thought I had to do my own thing. And he was like, no, you just go work somewhere and get real good at it and then do your own thing. And I was like, I was the worst teacher that day. I went back in the classroom. I probably applied for like 50 jobs the rest of the day. And the next few weeks had some interviews. I quit teaching at the end of the year. The web design agency that I went to where I eventually became the SEO director, they're like, don't you want to take some time off? Like, didn't you just leave teaching on Friday? I was like, guys, I'm so ready for this. I cannot freaking wait. I will start on Monday. I'll start tomorrow if you want, like whatever. And I did that for a few years. I went to another agency, helped scale that agency from 10 to 25 million in revenue, went in-house at a company here in Chicago called Active Campaign. Yeah. We grew pretty substantially during that time period. And then it was like, all right, cool. I guess it's time to do my own thing. And for the last couple of years, I've been running Growth Sprints.
Okay. It's a hell of an intro. Love it. Sweet.
You asked for the superhero
Yes.
backstory.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's dig into it. Growth sprint. Okay, so tell us about growth sprints and the
Yeah.
problem that is solving. Because it seems to be pretty big today with AI companies.
So the biggest issue that I found is maybe there's a couple issues, but the one problem that my clients seem to have the most of is running through maybe like three phases of marketing and specifically like content marketing, right? The first is random acts of marketing. We're just like trying things. We don't know what's having an impact, but we're just trying a lot of stuff. Some companies aren't even there. They're not even at the we're trying stuff phase. And I get that, but that's usually phase one.
Mm.
Phase two is you are doing random acts of marketing and you discover programs and playbooks. And you're like, let me implement what I've seen work at other companies, or maybe we make a hire and they've seen some success, so they're going to run their program or their playbook, and like we're running this. The companies I work best at are the ones that are finding the programs and playbooks that they've been running for years. What I would come to call like checkbox marketing of like we do our weekly, our weekly email, our daily social posts, our weekly blog. Like it's like time plus channel marketing, but just checking the boxes. And like I was trying to answer this question. I was like, why the heck is B2B so boring? And B2B is boring because we're just checking boxes. Most marketers are there to deliver their weekly whatever production and
Hmm.
then keep it moving. Um, Real quick, can you hear my dog barking?
Mm-mm.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure it's loud for me.
Okay.
Microphone's doing its job. The so that's who I help best is the companies kind of stuck in that checkbox marketing. They're like, we're producing more than ever. We're all working until our eyes bleed. We're all exhausted and burned out, and we don't have anything to show for it, or even worse, like we have even less to show for it than we did in years past.
Okay.
That's where I come in.
Gotcha. Is there, and then how much of that is focused on SEO?
So I kind of operate in maybe three different loops. The first is that discoverability loop around content. It's like, hey, what do we need to produce so that when people are looking for a thing that we do or a thing that our company can help with, they discover us. Great. That's usually a foundational piece for a lot of the companies I work with. Sometimes I'll have the privilege where they're like, hey, we actually have a really good foundation there. And I'll do some research ahead of time, be like, yeah, you do. And then I can help them with other things like what I would call relationship loops, which is a how do we create a relationship with our audience through a recurring marketing motion, like a newsletter, podcast,
Hmm.
webinar series, office hour, something like that. Relationship loop or a virality loop. Viral loops look different in B2B and even like some B2C, but definitely different in e-commerce. I don't need to go e-commerce viral most of the time. I just need somebody to say, every time I open LinkedIn, you're at the top of my feed. Been
Yeah.
seeing your content everywhere lately. That's B2B viral. That's the other place. So those discoverability loops, viral loops, and relationship loops
Mhm.
are the three kind of like most important things. There's so much marketing. That's the other thing, Charlie. Like in a world where we can do everything now, it's less of a like how do we do more and more of a what do we make really good
Yeah.
and make it work.
Okay. So what do you see working in SEO right now? 'Cause the game has changed with
Yep.
models and AI overview, all of that. Like for our audience, what is in your experience has been working right now?
So I think the what's working the best for the companies that I'm working with right now is first of all understanding there's a fundamental change in what's happening, in that we're all living through this what I would call like a traffic collapse. Almost everybody's traffic is flat or down and to the right, and sometimes flat traffic is a huge win. It's like everybody else is down 40% year over year and we're flat, and the board is like, why aren't you up 80%? And it's like, I don't, where do you want me to get these clicks from? Like there are no more clicks to get clicked. And we're in this era where we have spent so long in SEO trying to convince our bosses that traffic equals trust. And now that game is changing where people will still trust us even if they don't click to our website. And if they do click to our website, they really want to be there. So I've found what's working is obviously covering our bases, right? We have to be discoverable when people are looking for, uh, they're searching for our category, they're searching for us, they're searching for our competitors, depending on the scale of the company. Sometimes there's even like hidden opportunities where people are looking for things about our own company, but we're sending them to a help doc and we should be sending them to the marketing website, things like that.
Hmm.
There's so many cool, I would call it like down funnel. Like we're talking like near the end of the buyer journey. I have to make sure I give our product or sales team an at bat with this person, with this potential customer. And then from there, what's working really well is understanding, like I said, if somebody's on the website, they really want to be on the website. So we can't give them that like 2009, Yoast green light SEO content where we're putting our keyword in the first sentence and following all those old rules. And there's still SEOs trying to push these rules of like, hey, here's what we found correlates with doing better in chat GPT, AEO. And then they pull those correlations and now everybody's doing that robotic thing again of like, oh, let's just follow the checkboxes for this.
Yeah.
It's so bad. And then you go to read it and you're like, no human wants to read this. Like what happened to somebody but the problem is that we're focused on visibility metrics and
Yeah.
traffic and nobody's like, yo, is this actually, if I would read this, if I put this in front of 10 of our ICP, how many are going to say it's good or at least give it a shot? Most of the time it's zero. Like we're just putting more slop out into the world, but our top line, metrics look good.
Yeah. Sessions look good, right?
Sessions and sometimes even sessions are down, but like, oh, our visibility metric went up in profound or something. And it's like, oh, you're going to have a hard time justifying your job in a year. Like that's, and that's where I want like the education to really come through with them, and even helping executives understand like we're moving into more of a zero click kind of world. So that's what's really working right now is like reframing that understanding of like traffic is down, but it's more important than ever because people don't have to come to our website anymore, and they'll have to come to it even less in the future.
Okay, so you mentioned, I'm taking notes here, down funnel content. Can you go
Yep.
more into that and like let's say for a SaaS, like what kind of content can they optimize for that?
1000%. So I look at it like this. Are we ranking? I have a bucket of alternatives and competitor pages, having the most compelling version of those, like alternatives and competitor, like take your top, whatever. It depends on how mature your market is. You might only have 3 competitors, you might have 40 competitors. Definitely make a page about competing against the status quo. Most marketers don't realize like that is what you lose most of your deals to is just no decision. So they're going to stick with whatever crappy process they've been doing. You have to address that. There are people searching for like, hey, how do I, most software replaces spreadsheets. So like basically, what are they using spreadsheets for right now? We have to own those types of things. The other stuff, this is a pretty standard playbook, like us versus competitors. If somebody's searching for that, I want to have our voice in that conversation. If they're looking for competitor versus competitor, that's really important. Competitor A versus competitor B, and then let's give them an honest evaluation as a peer of like who's best for what are their capabilities. If they don't publish their pricing, can we tell them what the pricing is? Based on publicly available data, of course, you can kind of defend it. And then earn the right to be like, hey, if you're looking for this use case or this, you want this to be different, maybe consider us too, right? I'm a big believer in like owning category list goals, like best whatever software, best whatever tool, building free tools, free versions of the tooling, or opening ungating access where you can, or embedding a Nevadic demo where it's like, hey, they can actually click through and feel like they're really using the product on this page. Those sorts of things, I think when they're in that consideration phase, whatever we can do to attract that audience and make sure that we're included on the RFP, that we're sales gets an at bat. That's what I want.
Got it. Okay. And you had mentioned free demo.
It's not a super unique playbook, but it does do. I'm still surprised how many companies don't have it in place.
Covers the
And
bases.
I think it's
Yeah.
table stakes.
Yeah. You had mentioned free demo / ungated. What is your, this isn't really tied to content, but real quick, what's your thoughts on free pricing versus just gassing free pricing and only having paid tiers? Like really what I'm asking is, do you think free pricing attracts the wrong audience?
No, I think there's plenty of products where there's a, really quick time to value. There's a reason to make a free tier. They will get value out of the free tier, and we as a company can support the unit economics of that. Sometimes people don't realize how much their software costs to run and support, so having a free tier doesn't make sense. Or it's a really long time to value. So it's not a free tier, you're basically running pilots. with people. Um, what I'm a bigger fan of is having those interactive product tours or, interactive product demos like in the Vatican there where they can use it, qualify themselves, get the aha moment before they talk to sales, before they start a trial. That matters a ton. But otherwise, I don't necessarily think you need a free tier for everything. I don't think everything needs to be free. Whether it's free trial or freemium or whatever way you want to do that.
Hmm.
Um, I'm personally, especially let's look at B2B specifically,
Hmm.
especially in B2B, your free trial doesn't mean crap anymore. We're all so busy that if you're trying to make me learn and use your product, I don't care how, like, imagine, Charlie, how bad my pain point would have to be where I'm like, I am up to my freaking eyeballs in work. We all are. But now I'm going to carve out somehow magically I'm going to get a whole free day to like try this software, or I'm going to do it on my off time. So instead of going to play hockey with my buddies, I'm going to go learn this new software because my trial's going to expire tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm not. So like sometimes it just doesn't, you have to understand like where your customer is and how busy they are and be like, all
Yeah.
right, cool. Like what does this look like for them? How do we show them the value of our product? 'Cause that's all a free trial is usually for, is like I want them to see the value and then they understand that it's worth paying for.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
Or there's
Okay.
a free there's a lot of like PLG, education about this. I'm not like the best person in the world on that, but or it's how do we create an army of raving fans that are on our
Yeah.
freemium or trial part, and then they evangelize us. Even though they're not paying, they're evangelizing us and building community and like all of those other
Yeah.
things. There's other reasons to have it. But from an acquisition standpoint, I think there's a couple different ways to approach it.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Back to SEO, and you've said that traditional keyword research is dead. What are you doing instead of that?
So I run what I call it the 3S content play. So 3S's are your sales, success, and support team. I am consistently saddened by how far marketing is from the customers in most organizations. And your sales team is closer to customers, your success team is closer, your support team is closer. You should have a way to interface with them constantly. You should be doing interviews with them, incentivizing them, especially a salesperson. They get comped for every action they do. Everything they do is about making money. Awesome. Can I grab you, once a month, can marketing buy you lunch? We'll send you a little gift card for your time, because you could be doing, you could be sourcing pipeline, you could be
Yeah.
doing a lot of other things. We want to help you. So until you see the value of us helping you, we'll comp. But get in front of those people and ask them, hey, what's something that's come up unprompted 3 or more times in the last month? Hey, what is our biggest competitor right now? And then building systems within, like, for a lot of my clients, I'll end up building a simple system where we're recording calls with Fathom or Granola, or if they're using Gong or whatever, piping those into a Slack channel. So we're getting like really interesting insights to the marketing team. And then from there, we're understanding like where our gaps are, what we need to create. Now, will I also look it up in Ahrefs and see like, hey, is anybody looking this up?
Yeah.
Sure. Like that helps defend, is this worth producing? But if I told you that 4 of our sales reps said this new competitor is coming up unprompted, do you think that's enough justification for us to create a competitor alternative page, and us versus them versus all the other competitors pages? Probably. Probably. And the SEO tool is going to confirm that? No, because most of their data is 3 to 6 months old at best. And it's
Mm.
the clickstream data they use is messy. They're buying tracking data from all our Chrome extensions that we gave the ability, we all approved that they could do whatever because we don't read the terms. Like they're getting that data from somewhere and it's not always accurate, but if I can use that to justify it, great. But I'd really rather stick close to the customer and be like, hey,
Yeah.
these are the pages we need, whether you think we need them or not. Like, this is verified, and this helps both in SEO and AEO and whatever the future may be. Like, we need to have that real estate. So I try to stick close to that like 3S style
Mhm.
foundationally from the beginning. And then there's a couple other ways I'll like try to find insights and stuff. I'll even like, obviously I do client work now, but if I was in-house, I would be talking to customers constantly. I'd have a customer advisory board that I'm putting stuff in front of, getting their
Mhm.
feedback on it, all of that sort of stuff.
Let's say that let's take that same um, strategy, 3S strategy. How can a two-person startup do that?
So I would obviously do the qualitative interviews first. Like talk to them, talk to your CS leader, talk to your sales leader, talk to your best rep, talk to your worst rep. Like who's somebody that, talk to the sales leader. If you have let's say you're 2-person marketing team, you're probably not a 100-person sales team, but maybe. Companies grow a lot of different ways. I would do the qualitative stuff first, and then I would move into the quant of, hey, how do I set this up so that every single sales call is pumped into Slack? And I can say, I'll give you an example. We'll make this concrete. I
Okay.
worked with an HR tech company, and we found it had not been surfaced by reps, and we hadn't heard anything about it. But watching, just scrolling Slack, we found that the current status quo for probably 50% of the really qualified leads that were coming in were currently using Copilot. They were using Microsoft Copilot to solve what this software did. We had no idea that Copilot was our biggest competitor,
Mm.
and it was. That came out of that type of thing. And we didn't have to hop on calls. We didn't have to waste any time. And everybody in the company could see what was going on in sales, another channel for success, that sort of thing. It's like, all right, cool. As a 2-person team, if I can support the entire life cycle journey from acquisition through close one into renewal, you can have a huge impact as a tiny team. With all the tooling available to us, I think production, it's just a question of like, it's not a tactics debate, it's a quality debate. Like, if it's good, who cares how we produce it? The problem is most people aren't making good stuff. But as a 2-person team, you can absolutely run that type of strategy and then produce all the content coming out of it through a Claude or whatever. There's also writing, content specific tools that do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of that, what's your AI stack or your marketing stack, let's say. Speaking of
Good
Claude,
question.
I've been on the Claude, well, collectively, myself, our two other co-hosts that are not here, Mallory and Connor. We've been on the Claude train for quite some time now. What an incredible product that is.
I was so intimidated by it, Charlie. I was just like throwing stuff into chat on the website and being like, analyze, just trying to do this stuff. I was using it and I saw the power of it, but I didn't really understand. And I forget if it maybe 6 months ago, less than a year ago, a VP of marketing that I had worked with at our previous company became the head of marketing for Claude Code. And
Oh,
I texted her. Her name's Casey Jenkins. She's like the best freaking marketer I've ever worked with. She's so good. There's a reason she's there. And I was like, hey, just text her. I'm like, real quick, how long till I'm out of a job? Like, you're seeing inside this stuff. And she was like, you're, first of all, the fact that you're even asking that question means you won't be. So you're
okay.
fine. Like the people who aren't asking how long till I'm out of a job are the ones at risk.
Yeah.
The fact that you are caring and she's like, also, I know how you work. Like, you're fine. But I was like, what should I be like? What I just asked her, like, really simple, like, what should I work on? What should I look at?
Hmm.
And what I really fell in love with was like co-work and stuff like that, where it's like, all right, cool, I can build these skills and everything and have things running. Now I can schedule stuff. Like every Sunday, I know this sounds silly. I have an executive assistant who's great because I don't want to manage people. I've managed big teams. It's an absolute nightmare. I like doing this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I gave Claude access to everything. I don't know the rules. I'm giving AI access to everything that I do. But I was just like, hey, here's what I need. Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, I need a brief of my upcoming week. Analyze everything. And it's like, hey, yeah, I went through your payment history. I went through it, like, is telling me it connected all of these dots. And it was like, oh yeah, you also sent him a Christmas gift last year. Blah blah blah. And I was like, oh my God, it literally
Wow.
went through all my email, all my drive, all my transcripts of calls, all my Slack messages, including like everything, and put together this brief of like, here's your calls coming up, here's what you need to be nervous about, here's what you need to pay attention to. That runs on Sunday, every single
It
Sunday.
just
So
go
now
just yeah.
now my EA can action on that, and like, instead of her putting that together, I have that done, and now she can move on to more impactful stuff. It's things like that now. Like, how do we use that for marketing? There's like a
Yeah.
million different ways, but now that you have things like running, that gets super interesting to me. So I've used Claude a bunch. I've also used other tools around SEO and AEO, AirOps, Profound, and stuff. there's another cool tool that I love called Stanley that I use specifically for LinkedIn, which is pretty cool. Just analyzes your posts, gives you an AI analysis of like what's hitting, what's not, why.
Hmm.
Super
That's cool.
insightful.
That's cool.
Really, really good. But other than that, like I feel like I keep it. I just canceled Chat GPT because I don't find any value in it compared to Claude. Like it's
Hmm.
not for me. I know there's other people. All these tools are how you use them, right? But
Hmm.
for me, it was like not even close. And I also am completely happy saying publicly that I think Sam Altman needs a punch in the chest. So I prefer not to pay them if I don't have to.
Yeah.
But not that I think any like Anthropic is like altruistic or anything. They're all making money, but that's like the stack right now. There's a really. Do you remember the? Well, this is such a niche ask. Do you remember there was a transformer named Grimlock back in the day? He was like the T-Rex robot transformer. He
Grimlock.
always
No.
okay, so he always spoke in these like really dumb phrases like me Grimlock, me smash. And this guy on Twitter, probably like 15 years ago, created a profile called Fake Grimlock. And but all his tweets were in this like all caps Grimlock voice. And he wrote a blog in this Grimlock character called Win Like Stupid. And he was like, smart people fail, stupid people win, stupid people too stupid to quit, too stupid to be scared, too stupid to overthink things.
That's it, huh?
And like I have taken that to heart
Yeah.
so much in the last year with the AI stuff. Like that's where it hit me is like I'm too smart. I'm getting overwhelmed with what I don't know. I think like I'm like all of the things. And I'm like, I just need to win like stupid
Yeah.
and just be too dumb to like give up or overthink it or be intimidated by it. And it's like that has unlocked so much for me of just finding the dumbest, simplest way to win. And that's why like my tech stack, like I know other people are like, oh, I pipe this into that and I do this and I'm using like Zapier. I'm taking my transcripts from the,
Yeah.
Fathom or Granola and piping those into this or that. Like I'm doing a lot of like orchestration in the background and there is some like cool AI stuff. Like I love Zapier's Copilot thing where I don't even have to figure out how to build Zaps anymore. I just keep talking to it and it does it. Um, but that's pretty much the stack. I keep it so simple.
I think that's going to be this episode's thumbnail. Win like stupid.
Perfect. With my face, with my dumb face.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that'll be up there. So
Perfect.
you mentioned Anthropic. You've worked with Anthropic, right?
I have not.
Oh, through growth sprints? Or I thought I saw something up there on like a testimonial.
So that's Casey Jenkins. She's the VP of market or like
Yeah.
head of marketing for Claude Code now. I worked with her when she was at Sendoso.
Okay. Okay. Previous. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
But would love to if they want to.
Yeah. If Dario's listening and your colleague,
Yeah.
if she's
But
if she,
I think I'm a huge fan of their product. I'm a huge fan of the way that they're going to market on things. I like their ambassadors program. Like they're as a company doing a lot of things that I hope we all learn from.
yeah,
And
I think it's a great product. Like you said, I just fired up Cowork last week. I think the balls for Dario to say no to the Department of War was pretty wild.
yeah,
It's
and I
me,
love that stuff. We just in my
yeah.
own town, we got a letter. I have four boys in middle school and elementary school, and we run Boy Scouts. And
Okay.
specifically, my wife runs Boy Scouts. A lot of the moms run Boy Scouts in our town, and we got letters from the Department of War that were like Boy Scouts is aligning itself directly with the Department of War and preparing people for military service. And we're getting rid of merit badges around diversity and inclusion and all of these things. And me and my wife were like, we're shutting down Boy Scouts. We'll finish
Really?
out the year and we'll do some other stuff, but we're not aligning with the Department of War for our kindergartner. So, like,
Yeah.
ethically, politically, whatever, I align with a lot of that stuff. And I realize not everybody does, and I'm not here to judge people or talk
Mhm.
trash, but that's like a big piece of things for me. And but like, is Anthropic also like building data centers everywhere that are probably going to ruin local ecosystems and community? Like, yeah, yeah. It's not a. I don't have the pretenses or ignorance that everything's perfect with a lot of these companies, but given the choices, the fact that somebody has a vastly superior product and aligns with the way I like to move in the world, that's
Mhm.
not a bad thing.
just easier to use, huh? It's just smoother to me, and I don't like complexity. Like I'm too dumb to
That's what I say all the time. I'm
have.
like, I'm not smart enough for this.
Yeah,
People are like,
that's
don't, we shouldn't have negative self-talk. I'm like, I'm being a little facetious. I think it's
yeah, I
smoother than
know.
everybody. Like, are you kidding me?
Like maybe it's like a hockey thing, but
Yes.
um,
To-
um,
You probably took a lot less hits though, being a goalie, or
well,
maybe
yeah,
more. I don't
pucks to the
know.
face, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
or the balls. Anyway,
yeah.
uh, um, let's say that a founder approaches you. They're they don't fit your profile for at least 10 million annually.
Mm-hmm.
They have no content. They have a brand new domain, which is a nightmare for SEO. What's your advice to them
Uh,
to help
so
them,
first,
not find somebody
yeah.
else?
Well, I'm
But
gonna let me be grouchy for a second. I don't work with founders.
oh,
It
you
is
don't?
a car.
No. Okay.
Never. I will never work with a
Are they
founder. It
too
is
crazy or?
too crazy, too ups and downs. They don't get included. So they miss a deal and freak out and try to change the whole direction of the company. And it's
Mhm.
like, dude, because you lost one deal, like now all of a sudden you're gonna fire half the marketing team, or like, whatever. It's just, or just like, I don't like this blog, I'm not paying my invoices. Like anytime I've ever been screwed out of
Yeah.
money, it's always been working directly with a founder, you
Interesting.
know. And I'm not into that. If you don't believe in marketing enough to have an internal person running things,
Yeah.
then I'm not a good fit.
That's a signal
So
too. Yeah. Like if
it
a company
is.
does not have a marketing team. Yeah.
You don't even need a team, just one person. You got to believe in it enough to have one person with autonomy, not have like a patsy that just is going to pipeline whatever the founder says over to me and back.
Mhm.
With that said, the 10 million to 100 million is actually a little bit of proxy for, are you big enough to get things shipped, but not so big that I need the legal team to read the blog, right? Like
Mhm.
that's the 100 million mark. Those are just nice round numbers. It's probably
Yeah.
different, but it's just proxy for like, if you're so big and bureaucratic that we can't actually do any cool work, like you're not for me. And if you're too small, if it's like the founder's going to write the blogs, like probably not, right? Now, with that said, if I was actually advising them, and they have a brand new website and things like that, the question then becomes, what are all the websites that have any sort of authority in your industry? How do we put content there first? How do we put it in all of the Beehive newsletters, the Substacks, the whatever? How do we get it everywhere? And then what does distribution look like for that content? I wouldn't start with SEO. I think SEO is a really huge mistake early on. Other than, if we're going to create this demand, our website does have to capture it. So like we do need to
Mhm.
have, if somebody's Googling something, our stuff needs to come up first above G2 or whatever. Um, so I think like a really simple website, and then the goal is just to make as much noise as possible. Like have something to say. Odds are that if you're a new founder and you haven't already tested your product with people, you don't already have customers, you don't already have fans, you don't already have an audience, we have a bigger problem than that. Because right now you don't have a business, you just have an idea. But
Mhm.
if you came to me and you're like, hey, we have a brand new website, but we're like 5 million in revenue right now, and we've been in existence for 11 months, so we're going to really quick find out how much our annual renewals are worth and what our churn is there.
Mhm.
Cool. Like that's a business, right? Otherwise, like if you don't have a website, you don't have an audience, you don't have decent revenue, like you just have an idea or a hobby, and that's
Mhm.
fine. But I think like that delineation is really helpful of like, you don't, if you have a hobby, you probably don't need SEO yet.
Would you just say paid ads first?
So I'm not a paid acquisition guy, so I can't speak to it. I know it's a really good way to waste a lot of money. Marketing in general is a really good way to waste a lot of money. Um, I would look for, I think one of the best early stage plays is partnerships. Like, what are they already using? Not for to solve this, but like our ICP, what else are they using? How do we partner with all of those companies? How do we prove that
Mhm.
like we have a really good use case together? How do we go to market that direction?
Mhm.
Um, and then it could be a growth, you know, there's a lot of different, we're getting into growth now, but like there's a lot of different ways that I think growth works. The other way is getting like, hey, how do are my customers evangelize this? Like, how do I turn them into raving fans? How do I surprise and delight them so much that they post, every visual they use in their work or on social media or wherever is a visual from our tool, right? That sort of thing. There's a lot of, like I said, a bunch of different ways to do it, but I think if you need to grow early, I'm assuming you already have disposable income and a product that retains. Because a lot of times people will try to solve a product problem with marketing. And I think that's a huge mistake of like, well, if we just fill more people in from the top, who cares that our churn is out of control?
Yeah.
Maybe. Or it's like, well, our churn's so high because we are attracting the wrong people and we need to attract the right ones. And it's like, okay, great. Like, tell me more about how you're thinking about that before we like lean in. And there's a lot of, I mean, it's 2026. Every single founder can record their calls with granola, every single call. Take Zapier, take your granola, zap it into a Google Drive, set up Cowork, and say, make a skill to create LinkedIn content and say, every single time I add a new transcript into this, give me 5 or 6 LinkedIn post ideas from that conversation. All of a sudden, we have daily LinkedIn posts and we're starting to build an audience. Like, I would start there. We don't need to build in public unless you're a founder that sells to other founders, and attracting other founders is the right move.
Okay.
But creating like short form content for your audience and sharing it where they hang out, there's no downside to that. And especially with all the tooling we just talked about, I would definitely start with like the viral loops, push that into relationship, and then maybe we start thinking about the discoverability stuff.
Okay. Okay. Got it. You'd mentioned this earlier as far as like kind of what to focus on, what to spend time on as we kind of wrap up here. What do you see as the 80-20 of content? Like what really moves the needle the most with, as I use air quotes, the least amount of work?
Well, I think it depends on the industry, right? Like some industries are going to be way heavier on PR or whatever than other ones. I'm focused on discoverability, virality, and relationships because that's what I find works. And it also is the easiest thing to execute. I'm not talking about making like a huge report or how do we get on the cover of Forbes or whatever. I really do believe in those things as a fun, and they can look, like I said, they look different at every company, but if it's 2026 and you're not discoverable when people are searching for you, very present and active, and people are seeing you recurring on social, and giving them a chance to, if they're not ready to buy, engage with you regularly via a marketing motion, like that's table stakes for me. And anybody, I am one person at my one person company doing it, plus doing it for a bunch of clients. If you have one marketer at your company, they can do this. So I think it's even the least work possible. The real thing we're talking about when we say the least work possible is because every time we reduce the amount of work something takes, some genius is like, oh, we could just give them more work then. That thing that took 8 hours only takes 2 hours now. 6 more hours. Let's give them more stuff. And it's like, no. You're pushing their head back under the water. Like they reached up, you gave them their hand, and you pulled them up out of the water when they're drowning, and then mush them back in with the other hand. Like that can't be what happens. So I think what we're really talking about is how do we keep quality really high so that our audience really likes our stuff, and then also continue touching those channels regularly on a cadence that we're happy with, without getting into checkbox marketing where quality suffers. But like as long as we're publishing our thing every so often, we're good.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. And lastly, as we wrap up here, I see snowboards in the background. You're a snowboarder? Or,
No, those are skateboards.
Oh, those are skateboard. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're my kids' skateboards. So you can see like 2 of them are used pretty heavily, and the other ones, this is from a local spot with the I Heart Chicago, and then the 2 outside ones come from a really cool skate shop that I went to with my friend Devin in San Diego that I thought were cool.
Oh, badass. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Good stuff. Brendan, thank you for being on the show. Where can our audience find you and see what you've got?
Listen, I tell everybody this, the best place is LinkedIn. If you Google my name and just put LinkedIn in there, it'll take you there, or type it in, you're listening to the episode, you can see how it's spelled. Put into LinkedIn. I try to post every single day. I rarely miss unless it's intentional. And I'm really big on just sharing everything I learn. So everything that we've talked about today, I'm sharing it in real time on there. I'm posting monthly reviews of how my own LinkedIn content is going, monthly reviews of how my newsletter is going.
I've seen it. Yeah, it's good.
I'm really trying to build in public in a way that, again, is focused on who I sell to, which is marketers at software companies, and is valuable for them, not just other people like me.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge mistake people make. You just end up attracting an audience of peers and not driving business for yourself. But that's where I share everything, all my best stuff. So that's definitely the best place. And you'll find everything. You'll find the newsletter from there. You'll find everything else from there.
Cool. Okay. Brendan, good stuff. Thanks for being on. Appreciate it.
Charlie, thanks for having me.
All right. Peace, man.
Hey guys, Connor here with Builders Growth Lab. If you're looking for a way to stay up to date on the latest news, trends, topics in AI and marketing, look no further. Visit us at buildersgrowthlab.ai and sign up for our newsletter today. In it, you'll find quick takeaways from our latest show, as well as simple tips on how to market your app. That's buildersgrowthlab.ai. Sign up today.
And we're back. Okay, great convo with Brendan. He was nice enough to come on the show, share some insight on what's working, what's not working, the 80-20 rule as far as content, really how to move the needle for your SaaS. So we'll be back next week, episode 43. We're actually going to show our own marketing stack. So myself, Mallory, and Connor we've really been on the train of Claude. We've fired up Claude Cowork. We're going to show our marketing stack. So like, we use Claude, we use SEMrush, we use Zapier, we use Slack, we use, it's like, how do we ideate? How do we come up with content? How do we, get it out there? How do we really move the needle for not just for the podcast, but for our respective companies as well? So that will be episode 43. Tune in then. We'll be back, and look us up, subscribe on all the platforms where you can find a podcast. This wraps up episode 42 of the Builders Growth Lab podcast.